Chapter 3 The Flash and the Railgun. Alright, so here's how it's going to go. Asuna, also known as the Flash of the Knights of the Blood Oath, slammed her fist down on the round table of the dark meeting room. We'll lure it out into the fields, and while it's busy killing NPCs, we'll pounce on it and kill it. Asuna, the second in command of the Knights of the Blood Oath, her skills with her rapier were an in-game legend. She wore the white armor with red highlights that told of her membership in her guild. Her elegant features, long light brown hair, drove many male players crazy with crushes, and her cold demeanor allowed her to lead her guild with extreme precision. And now, with the members of her guild, as well as many other high-level players, from other guilds to lone players like Kirito gathered, they were preparing for an assault on a powerful field boss. "Wait, hold on," said Kirito, raising a hand. "Are you sure we should be sacrificing NPCs? That's a little harsh." "They're NPCs, they'll just respawn later," said Asuna coldly. "Us, we can't respawn. It's either them or us. I am Asuna, second in command of the Knights of the Blood Oath, and you will follow my orders." "But," Kirito began, as everybody else braced for another argument between the Black Swordsman and the Flash. Then the meeting was suddenly interrupted as Mikoto burst through the door of the room. "Hey, sorry, only just heard about the meeting." Asuna sighed and folded her arms. "Late again, Railgun? Seriously?" "Well, I was out hunting and lost track of time," Mikoto said. "It's the same story every time," said Asuna. "It's always, I was dungeon clearing or I was hunting. Do you ever take any of this seriously?" "Of course I do," Mikoto growled. "There are lives on the line. How dare you?" "Here we go again, Kirito," said Klein, a red-haired player dressed with a headband, samurai outfit, and sword. "The Flash and Glitchblade are at it again." "Don't call her that, Klein. She hates that," Kirito muttered. "I'm not going to get into it with you again, Railgun," said Asuna. "So just take your place. Thanks to you, I have to go over our strategy for taking on Rasrak the Demon Eater." "Oh," Mikoto rubbed the back of her head sheepishly. "This is awkward. How long was this meeting?" 2 hours, said Asuna. "Why?" "Well, you've spent 2 hours on Rasrak, eh?" said Mikoto, chuckling nervously. "This is awkward." "What did you do?" asked Asuna. "I might have already killed Rasrak the Demon Eater," said Mikoto. "You what?" said Asuna. "Well, I was out hunting, and it's the reason I'm late, actually," said Mikoto. "Then I found it out just smacking around, and I noticed that it was really slow and didn't have any long-range attacks, so I spent 5 hours just shooting arrows at its huge eye. Eventually it died." "We spent 3 days of meetings trying to figure out how to kill that thing," Asuna roared. "Meetings you never showed to." "Oh, then, sorry, I was busy killing Teirik the Shieldbreaker," said Mikoto. "That was the next meeting," said Asuna. "Oh, oops," Mikoto stammered. Sorry, just so you know, I did you a favor. I didn't sleep for an entire 2 days because I spent 22 hours hitting it with everything I had. Used up my potions, too." "You could have been killed. You didn't sleep for an entire 22 hours, and you spent that entire time fighting?" Asuna stammered. Are you insane? This is why we never fight alone." "I don't see what the big deal is, as long as the dungeons are cleared," said Mikoto. "If we beat the game with minimal casualties, it doesn't matter when or how it's done. Point is, we survived and beat the game. And skilled high-level players like you are few enough. We can't have you dying," said Asuna. "If you keep on jumping on strong bosses like this without consideration for the consequences, you'll what?" said Mikoto. "Throw me in the slammer? I'm not a red player. Reprimand me? Demote me? Well, I'm not in your guild. Asuna took a deep breath. Fine. At least remember to be here for the meeting on taking on the werewolf near the enchanted goldwood on the northern sector. Oh, the werewolf, said Mikoto. If it makes anybody feel better, I'll share the gold after I sell the legendary wolf head he dropped. Asuna's eye twitched as she stared at Mikoto with incredulity. You... outside now! Mikoto glared at Asuna with determination as she put a hand on the hilt of her sword. So, we're finally doing this, huh? Gladly, said Asuna. First strike wins, you know the drill. Kirito put hand to his forehead. He was wondering when the tension between those two was going to boil down to this. Mikoto had gotten much more experience since he and her first met. Mikoto's armor had changed. She now no longer wore a white shirt under her sleeveless black tan top with the armor chest plate. The chest plate was now gold, with a lightning bolt near the center. Her scarf was longer, and of course there was the static smite, which she now wielded. A sword that could stun any target it hit on its first strike for 2 seconds every 12 minutes. Kirito had heard that lately Mikoto had been doing solo hits on weaker field bosses lately. It was a dangerous move, considering that even the weaker bosses were tough to take on solo. He suspected it was her one memory of that boy, from that time they got the grimoire. She was so determined to figure out who she was. It was as if she wanted to beat the crap out of SAO as quickly as possible to find that. Wow, said Klein, as he and Kirito walked out of the building. I always figured tension was building with Railgun and Asuna for a while, but I guess they've both finally snapped, eh? Well, you're probably happy. Whenever Railgun isn't around, it's always you and Asuna arguing it up. Don't be ridiculous, said Kirito. I kind of agree with Asuna that Misaka shouldn't be jumping into fights alone. But still, Misaka has a point about Asuna trying to assert her authority over her. Misaka is a solo player. She doesn't have to listen to anything Asuna says. Whatever the case, looks like they're finally going to settle things, eh? Said Klein, as everybody formed a wide circle around Mikoto and Asuna. Mikoto glared at Asuna as a holographic screen for a duel invitation opened up in front of her. Mikoto clicked the yes option and readied her blade. All right, princess. Ready to get schooled? Bring it on, Glitch Blade, said Asuna. Oh, that does it! Mikoto lunged at Asuna, swinging her sword in a quick left slash. Asuna immediately blocked the blow, and dashed to Mikoto's right, firing a multi-hit jab with her rapier at Mikoto. Mikoto ducked the blow, and rolled out of the way, before somersaulting into the air over Asuna's head, and lashing down an overhead blow, which was blocked. Sparks exploded between the two blades as they repeatedly rammed against each other. Mikoto knew Asuna's fighting style from months of boss raids. She was quick, fast, and hard to catch with ordinary vision stats, which meant Mikoto had to stay light on her feet and catch everything before it came at her. Mikoto grinned as she dodged another slash. Oh, this was going to be easy. Mikoto moved like the wind, parrying every single blow that Asuna threw at her. They call you the Flash? Said Mikoto, as she blocked several bullet-speed blows from the rapier. They should call you the Slug. Really? Said Asuna. Cause the way you're moving, I'm wondering why somebody as slow as you picked a name off an electromagnetic supergun. Hell if I know why I picked that name, it just sounds catchy. Mikoto growled. Asuna's eyes turned to a steely glare that she tended to get when she fought boss monsters, and her sword gave off a brilliant light as she activated a combo ability. Sparks grinded and flew into the air as Mikoto gritted her teeth and blocked the blow. This was the mistake that she had been waiting for. Activating a big move like that caused Asuna to overextend her blade for just a minute, which meant she was exposed on all ends. Mikoto took a deep breath and activated one of the abilities that one only possessed once they had maxed out all their speed skill points. She put on a massive burst of speed, leaving a glowing trail from her feet as she suddenly sped to a point right behind Asuna. Gotcha! Mikoto swung her sword down at Asuna's shoulder for the victory blow, or so she thought. There was a sudden flash of a blade so fast that it could only be seen as a yellow burst of light, and Mikoto was knocked back by Asuna's rapier, leaving a temporary glowing mark on her chest plate. As Mikoto fell on her back, the icon saying "Winner Asuna" showed in the air. Asuna held her hand out to Mikoto to help her up. Sorry, but I guess this one goes to me. Mikoto didn't take her hand. She remained silent and expressionless and stood up, before walking off in silence. Asuna stared after Mikoto for a minute, as the rest of her guild patted her on the back and congratulated her. Why do I feel a bit guilty? Asuna muttered. Mikoto later sat in the local restaurant, silently fiddling with her fork on her plate, as Kirito frowned from across the table. Hey, Misaka, you know if you don't eat that for a while, it's going to disappear, right? Not feeling hungry, Mikoto muttered. Look, forget about it, said Kirito. So you didn't win. It's not a big deal. You're both skilled players. It's not that, Mikoto muttered. Listen, she's right. I've been so focused on trying to figure out who I am that I didn't consider everybody else who's also trying to beat the game with minimal casualties. 4,000 people are already dead. Only 60% of all the players on SAO are still alive, and not many of them are even high-level players. I can't just carelessly risk myself. It's selfish of me. I'm the worst. It's a reason why I've never joined a guild. At least your reason isn't as bad as mine, Kirito muttered. What? Nothing, said Kirito. Anyway, I don't blame you. You're the only one in the game with amnesia. I'm sure Asuna understands. Guess you'd know, said Mikoto with a sly smirk. With the way you're always looking at her. You're letting your imagination get ahead of you, said Kirito. Our relationship is strictly business. Right, said Mikoto. Sure it is. Mind if I sit here? Mikoto looked up in astonishment to see Asuna there. Hi, said Asuna, at what was an attempt at giving Mikoto a cheerful smile. Oh, Mikoto muttered guiltily. Hey. What went on in Mikoto's head was more like this. Oh great, she's here to scold me. Asuna nodded at Kirito. Hey, Kirito. Asuna, said Kirito with a bored voice. Mind if I speak to Railgun? Said Asuna. Kirito shrugged. Sure. I'll see you at the next meeting, Misaka. Wait! Mikoto burst out. Don't leave me alone with her, she hates me! Kirito waved at Mikoto and walked out of the restaurant. You freaking! Mikoto began to growl. Then she noticed Asuna sitting across from her in the booth. You think I hate you? Said Asuna. Oh, Mikoto stammered. Maybe a little? Asuna looked down slightly. Look, I want to apologize. You apologize? Said Mikoto. That's wrong. I'm the one who should be apologizing while you tell me how I messed up as usual. You don't mess up. You just run in without telling the rest of us when we could help you, said Asuna. And I'm talking about challenging you to a duel in front of everyone. Calling you out just to make an example was an immature thing to do, and it didn't help anything. All it did was make you angrier at me. I'm not angry, Mikoto murmured. You were right. Asuna frowned. This isn't how I pictured it would go. Disappointed? Said Mikoto. No, said Asuna. Listen, if it's any consolation, you're the fastest swordsman I've ever fought in a while. You'd give every single person in my guild, plus Kirito, a run for their money where reflexes are concerned. Me beat Kirito? Yeah, right. Mikoto chuckled. I've tried that. You're just a bit reckless. When you see an opening, you get excited and go for it without thinking, said Asuna. I used to do the same thing. Yeah, sure, Mikoto muttered. Look, do you really think I hate you? Asuna said. Why wouldn't you? Said Mikoto. Plenty of reasons, said Asuna. Listen, I've been thinking, and I want to bury the hatchet. Well, I would like for you to join the Knights of the Blood Oath. Mikoto dropped her fork. What? We could use somebody like you, said Asuna. We don't have many people with your archery skills and... Forget it, Mikoto interrupted. I don't join guilds. Said Asuna. Why not? I have my reasons, said Mikoto. And I'm sure Heathcliff wouldn't want the glitch blade. Oh, so you know that. Everybody calls me that behind my back? Said Mikoto. Yeah, I do. I'm better alone. Thanks for the offer, though. Asuna watched Mikoto, trying not to let pity show on her face. In many cases, Railgun was shunned and disliked even more than the beta players of SAO, who were shunned because they were believed to have abandoned the newer players when the game started. Everyone thought she was some sort of hacked glitch because of the strange distortions that happened occasionally around her. It wasn't right. Listen, Railgun, Asuna began. But what she was about to say was interrupted by a sudden terrified scream coming from outside. Mikoto and Asuna both stood up, their hands on their sword hilts. What was that? Said Mikoto. No time to wonder, let's go, said Asuna. By the time the two girls had made it outside, a large crowd had surrounded a small young female player who was crying into Kirito's shoulder as he tried to comfort her. What's going on? Said Asuna. Make way. What happened? My brother was just murdered in the dungeon beyond here, said the sobbing girl. Why? She just got the news, said Kirito. Some of her surviving guild just told her. They're over there. Murder? Said Mikoto. Who would do such a thing? Take a wild guess, said Kirito. Laughing Coffin, the murder guild, growled Asuna. So some of them are hanging around this floor, huh? Typical, ambushing random victims for fun. Asuna turned to several of the escorts that had been waiting for her outside the restaurant. I need several more of our people down here. We're forming a group to hunt down the Laughing Coffin. This can't be ignored. Asuna turned to Kirito next. Coming with? Yeah, I'll walk this one home first, said Kirito, referring to a grief-struck girl. Mikoto sighed. What a way to put a damper on a day. Murder, and feeling like a jerk. Guess it was time to head back to the inn and... Railgun, you're coming too. Wait, what? Said Mikoto. Is there a problem? Said Asuna. No, just nobody ever asked me to go hunt down red players with them, said Mikoto. Yeah, I'm ready, let's go. As Mikoto got busy checking her item storage, Asuna pulled Kirito aside. Listen, said Asuna. You know her better than anybody. Probably because I'm the only one who bothers to get to know her, said Kirito. Stop trying to make me feel guilty, I'm already there, said Asuna. I just want to know, how did you manage to break her shell? I didn't, said Kirito. Really? Said Asuna, cause you're the only one I've ever seen call her by her real name. Listen, said Kirito. It's more complicated than that, but if you want to get on her good side, there is one way. Yeah? You know that event item you got last month? Said Kirito. The Gekota? Yeah, said Kirito. Don't tell her I told you. Hey, Asuna. Oh, we're not discussing anything. Kirito jumped back. Mikoto narrowed her eyes suspiciously at Kirito. Okay. Anyways, Asuna, these people, Laughing Coffin, they're murderers, right? Yeah. Mikoto nodded, and Asuna was stunned to find an incredible righteous fury in the girl's eyes. We'll hunt them down, Mikoto whispered. We'll hunt them all down. Mikoto turned away and walked down the street in a stalking fashion, almost as if she were already on the prowl for Laughing Coffin.